Hello and welcome everyone. We are Team Sastatkan. I am Mahanur Rahman Mahi.
And I am Ahmed Iftekhar Ruiz. We are both final year undergraduate students at Shahjalan University of Science and Technology.
In this video, we are presenting our application ConvoBot for the Therap Javafest 2023 competition. Before starting our presentation, we would like to thank Therap BD for their guidance throughout the development process and giving us this opportunity to showcase our skills in this such a large nationwide platform. The name of our application is ConvoBot. It is an online application to develop ready-to-use publishable chatbots. Using these applications, users would be able to create their own personalized chatbots for their custom needs. The created chatbots from this application will use the GPT model created by OpenAI. This is the same model that is behind the widely used chatting application ChatGPT. In short, users of our application will be able to generate powerful and capable chatbots that can serve any custom purposes without writing a single line of code. So, without any further ado, let's dive into a demonstration by running our application. So, after launching our application, the application will take us into our homepage. On the homepage, we can see our logo on the top left corner and the sign in sign up option on the top right corner. So, to create an account, we'll go to sign up page. And in the sign up page, we would use our first name, last name, email address and password to simply create an account. So let's fill up the form. So now, after clicking the sign up page, sign up button, the application will take us into our login page. So before we can log in, we have to verify our email. Here we can see that in the email that we provided has a verification email arrived. And after this email has arrived, I will click on this link to verify my email. Here we can see that our email was verified successfully. Now we can use our email address to log in into the application. I would opt to remember me for future so that I don't have to type in my password again. Let's click on sign in. Now, after logging in, we are taken to the dashboard of our application, which is the main part of our application. On the dashboard, we can see the already created chatbots on the left hand side sidebar, and as well as we can see report button, API key button, profile name, and some logout and profile upload photo options on the top right corner. Now we would have to create our first AI-driven chatbot. To create our first chatbot, we'd first have to create an API key. We will talk about API keys in details in the later section of our video. For now, we just have to generate a simple API key. To generate an API key, we have to enter the API key name. The API key name can be anything that you like. It is for you to track the progress of your APIs and the usage of your APIs later through the report pages. For now, we would create an API key named testing. Now we can see that we have successfully created an API key. After the creation of an API key, we will now create a chatbot. To create a chatbot, we click on add a chatbot button, and in this model we have to give a name and a short description for our chatbot. Let's create a chatbot named a programming instructor. Let's give it a short description, something like this. Click on confirm. Now you see a toaster saying you'd have to generate this chatbot for this chatbot to save. Currently, this chatbot isn't saved into the database, or not. It is not trained through the database. So to train the chatbot, we'd have to give it a prompt and some restrictions. Now we can see some restrictions are already given to the chatbot by default. We have to properly modify these base prompt and restriction field to guide the behavior of the chatbot. You would enter simple instructions such as roles or characteristics of the chatbot in the base prompt area, and you would provide some restrictions for the chatbot in the restrictions area. Let's say for our programming instructor chatbot, we can give a simple instruction like this. Or we can create a suitable prompt using our AI system by pressing this auto prompt button. This button we can see that after pressing this button, our AI system will generate a suitable prompt for our chatbot using the name and description of our chatbot. Here we can see that the AI has generated a prompt for us. We can review this prompt if it meets our need, or we can create and edit this prompt to fit our purpose. For now, we are going to say that it has fitted our purpose, and we are going to click on generate chatbot. We can see the chatbot creation is in progress. Now we have successfully created our first chatbot. Now, as soon as we have created our chatbot, this side sidebar would unlock other options for us. Let's check out the conversation tab to test the communication with our newly created chatbot. In the conversation tab, we can see that our chatbot has created a greeting message for us based on the behaviors that we set earlier. The greeting message will be generated based on the prompt and restrictions that we provided. Let's ask it, what can you do? The chatbot is generating its response. Here we can see that the chatbot has responded based on the roles and capabilities that we provided it earlier in the training tab. Also, any chat with your chatbot is completely stateful chat. That means that the chatbot will remember what you said earlier, and based on that, it will generate its output. Let's say I want to learn React. Now here we can see that it has provided some information to show me how I can learn React. Now after the chatbot has generated this response, we can ask questions like, who created this library? Here we can see that the chatbot remembers that we asked about React in the previous chat, so it responded with the answer of who created React without getting confused about the context. We can also use voice to generate input for our chatbot. Let's say, I want to learn Java. Now let's see an example of how the prompt affects its behaviors. In the training tab, we can see that we provided in the restrictions for the chatbot to not answer any questions out of the context. If someone asks questions out of the context, we said to answer saying, sorry, I can't help you with that. Now, let's ask the chatbot an out of the context question. Now let's see what happens. It responded with the phrase that we told it to respond in the restriction section. Now let's remove this out of context question restriction and see what happens. Now let's generate this chatbot or update this chatbot. The chatbot was successfully updated. Now let's go back to the conversation and ask the same question again. Let's see what happens. Now we can see that the chatbot responded with a response, although the question was out of its role. So now, to showcase our advanced chatbot training options, let's create a new chatbot named Apple Products Expert. Let's give this a short description. Let's give it a short prompt and let's just leave the restrictions as it is. Okay. Now let's assume that we want to integrate this chatbot in an e-commerce website that we own that sells different Apple products. Now we want this chatbot to be able to answer user queries about any product in our website. But as the GPT model was trained on data up to September 2021, it will not be able to answer queries about products that were launched after that time period. So let's ask it a question like, tell me about AirPods Pro. Now let's ask it to tell us about AirPods Pro second generation. As we can see, the chatbot was not able to answer. So to solve this issue comes the context training feature of our application. Let's go to the advanced tab of our newly created chatbot. In this page, we can see that the context input text area. Using this text input, we can train our chatbot on any kind of large textual data. So we can associate any recent or personal data in our chatbot that is not known to the GPT model yet. We can insert product details, personal information, frequently asked questions, course details, customer support responses, and many more. It can generate relevant response from any large dataset in a relatively quick manner. So for our use case, we want to train our chatbot on the data of AirPods Pro second generation. To do so, I have found a textual data that contains information about the AirPods Pro second generation. Let's copy the data and paste it in our textual input data section. Now I will press on the train button and input the name of the dataset. I press confirm. Now we can see that in the integration of the context was successful. Now let's ask the same question again. Now we can see that our chatbot was able to answer about airport second generation successfully using the data we just trained it on. If we want, we can train our model on multiple datasets so that it can answer from a variety of topics. Let's train our chatbot on data about iPhone 15 that was launched recently. Here I am copying a data about iPhone 15 and placing it in the context menu. After pressing train, I will give this dataset a suitable name and press confirm. And I can see that integration of the dataset was successful. Now from this drop down, I can see all of the previously used data that was used to train our chatbot. From this list, we can click on any data to remove it from our application, like this. The data was successfully removed from our chatbot. So this is how the context training works in our chatbot. We were able to create such a fast system to comb through such large dataset with the help of another OpenAI's API called embedding texts. Now, to showcase the website integration feature of our chatbot, let's create a new chatbot. Let's name it Therap Javafest Guide and give it a short description like this. Press confirm. Now let's give it a suitable prompt. Let's fix this typo. Okay. Now let's train the chatbot. Now after training the chatbot, we want that this bot can answer any question about the event that the user may ask. So to achieve this behavior effortlessly, we can use the website integration feature of our advanced page. In this website reference section of our advanced page, we can integrate the informations available in a website into our chatbot. This way, our chatbot will get trained on the data that is available on the website and answer any queries about those information that the user may have. So let's integrate the official website of the Therap Javafest event in our chatbot by providing the website URL in this section. Now I will press on train. Now we can see the website was successfully integrated, and after the training is complete, the chatbot can now answer any questions from the provided website. Let's go to conversation and ask it what is the first prize of this event. The chatbot is generating its response, and as we can see, the chatbot was able to answer the question successfully from the website reference using the information available in the website. We implemented this feature by creating a custom web crawler that maps the website in the given URL and fetches all of the textual data that is available in the website. And lastly, it saved this data in its memory using an embedding system which makes searching a large number of datasets rapidly fast. So by using this feature, any business can integrate their or any other website's information in the chatbot to make the chatbot data more robust and up to date. Lastly, there are some other settings available in the advanced page, such as limiting the size of the input. By default, this is set to 400 characters long. We can also select a model for our application using GPT-3 or GPT-4. By default, GPT-3 is selected. We can also use GPT-4, though GPT-4 is much more powerful, but it has a higher cost. Now finally, after we have trained our chatbot to our desire, it's time to publish it. So let's go to our publish page. We currently have two methods to publish the chatbots created in our application. On the bottom, we can see an API reference to integrate the chatbot in our application in the manner that we want. On top, we can see an option to add an instant pop-up chat of our chatbot in any web application using just the provided HTML code snippet. Before publishing our chatbot, we will create an API key by going to the API key section. Pressing the generate a new API key button, you would be prompted to give a suitable name. Let's give it a suitable name like this. We can later use this name to track the progress or usages of our different APIs or different chatbots when we publish them. Press on confirm. After creating the API, we will click on this button to copy the API key, and then we will paste our API key in the API key section that is situated right here. Let's see a demonstration of how this pop-up chatbot works. At first, we'll click on this customize button to edit the theme of our chatbot, so that when we import this pop-up into our different application, it matches the theme of that application. Let's select this presetted theme. We can see a demonstration on the top left corner of how the pop-up would look like. Press on confirm. Now that we have created custom theme for the pop-up chatbot, let's paste this code snippet into the application that we want to integrate this chatbot in. Here we have a different application that is running on a different port in our system. Though both of these applications are running locally, this would work on any application, no matter what the origin is. As we can see that this application does not have any pop-up currently in it. So let's paste our code snippet and see how it works. This is the index file of this application, and we will paste our code snippet in the body part of this file like this. Now that's it. If we reload this application, and we can see that there is a pop-up that has arrived on the bottom right corner of this application. Users can also easily customize the location of this pop-up by editing our code snippet. Let's click on this pop-up. We can see that the theme that we selected has loaded correctly. Let's ask it, what can you do? As we imported the Therap Javafest guide chatbot, it would respond in the way that we trained it to do. Now lastly, we would see the report section of our application. To take the application in the report view mode, we would click on this button. Now we are taken into the report view section of our application. Here, by default, the chatbot report is loaded. We can toggle between the chatbot report and the API key report from the side sidebar. In each of these, on the bar diagram, we can see the input tokens, output tokens, and the total tokens used by each of our chatbot. In the API key report, we can see the same thing for our API keys. Tokens are a matrix used by OpenAI to track the usage of different APIs. On this table, we can see in details about different settings and options used by our chatbots. And on the API key report, we can see the API keys and their usages. We can view and analyze this data to understand the usage of our different chatbots, so that we can take necessary steps to manage them. We can perform sorting on any of these fields, like this, or we can perform filtration on any of these data. based on any of these fields, like this. Now let's talk about the architecture of our application. Here on this figure we can see the top level overview of the architecture. At first we have a front-end application that works as the entry point of our app. We used React and JavaScript to create this application. Then we have our SpringBoot backend application at the heart of our system. Our backend application is then attached to the MySQL database and an OpenAI API. Whenever a new request arrives at our frontend processes this request and sends them to our backend. Our backend saves the necessary data in the database, and then if it requires, it sends a request to the OpenAI API for functionalities like embedding and chat completion. Then our backend processes this response from the OpenAI and saves the embedding or chat completions in the database. And later, when user wants to perform a query, our backend uses the previously saved data to serve them to the front end. Here is a base level structure of our project code. Here we have our Spring Boot backend code organized in several packages. First, we have our configuration folder, which contains different configuration files of our project, including the security configuration. For authentication, we have used the JWT token-based authentication system to filter and authenticate every request from the front end. Here we have our controller section that contains the REST endpoints of our application. Then we have our enums package that contains the enums created for our application. And then we have our Pojo folder containing all of our entities. And in our Pojo folder we have two folders containing the requests and the response objects. Then comes the repository package, which includes all of our repository files that extends the JPA repository interface. And lastly, we have our service package that contains all of our services files that includes most of our logical calculations. So, whenever a new request arrives, it first gets intercepted by our JWT token-based authentication filter. After authentication, the request reaches the REST end controllers. And then the REST controllers delegate the request to our service files, which then uses our repositories to fetch data from the database. Then here we have our front-end folder containing every files created for our React-based front-end application. First we have our assets folder containing all of our images and other assets. Then we have our components folder containing all of our component files. After that we have our layouts folder that contains all of our different layouts. Then we have our services folder that contains all of our service files that makes the request to our backend. And lastly we have our styling folder that contains all of our CSS styling files. This is a single page based application. We have used Material UI for managing all of the UI components and to give the application a more modern look. So to sum up, by using ConvoBot, businesses can improve efficiency by streamlining interactions with customers, clients, or website visitors through the use of easy-to-create AI-driven chatbots, reducing response times and improving user satisfaction. You can personalize and tailor your chatbot to your specific needs, ensuring that it represents your brand, values, and communication style. The chatbots you create using ConvoBot grows with you. You can start small and expand chatbots' capability as your requirements evolve. The chatbots that you publish generate valuable data insights that can be used to refine chatbots' performance and optimize its interactions. And overall, by integration of AI technologies seamlessly into your projects and websites, ConvoBot will give a competitive advantage, keeping you ahead of the curve. So, we have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you for watching until the end. And again, we would like to thank Therap for organizing such a grand event that encourages both creativity and technical proficiency. Thank you.